be surprised if I then start screaming and saying that we're live.
There we go. It says we're live.
We're live! Hey, it seems to be going a bit quicker.
Oh,
that's good. Adrian Savage, people watching, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm with Adrian Savage of Deliverability Dashboard.
That's the one.
Oh, I know Adrian. I've known Adrian for at least 3 years now, and I know that this is just one of the many companies that he's done over the years. This man is a serial entrepreneur and is also a technical whiz kid. He can speak in code, which only other people who speak in code can understand. That's how good he is. Adrian, so good to see you, man.
And you. It's been a long, long time.
Oh my God, it's been at least, I'd say 2 years, maybe.
Yeah, it probably has been.
Blooming hell. It's crazy. But before we start, sir, we have to do a pose. We have to do a pose for the Facebook algorithm. So after 3, I want your best pout. So 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, the cheesiest of cheesy grins. Oh, fantastic, fantastic. Right, let's dive in, because Adrian, I know that you are a man that time has no respect for. It always seems to go because you've got so much going on. So let's get started. So Adrian, please tell the people watching, what do you do for a business?
Easy peasy. I help people who use email for their marketing, and I help them get more emails into the inbox, avoid the spam folder, and I can show people how to easily double their open rates. So if you're sending any kind of email marketing, then it's worth finding out a little bit more.
Oh, interesting. And do you help people with the email marketing or just the deliverability?
So now I have niched right down. So if people need general help, then I've got other people that I can recommend. But my particular thing is just literally on how to change your behaviors and your habits and change the way you use the tech to specifically get more emails in front of more of your audience. So at the end of the day, everyone wants to be heard more by the audience, and that's the bit that I'm focusing on.
Fantastic. So guys, if you're watching, if you are doing any email marketing or you're struggling with your email marketing, Adrian's definitely someone, wealth of knowledge. I'm on his list, and some of the tips that he's been sending me have helped me open my rates, and I've not spoken to him about it yet, but we're going to speak afterwards about it. All right. So Adrian, what inspired you to start the business?
I've been in the whole kind of online marketing game for, it's getting close to 10 years now.
Yeah, get off. You're too young. You're too young for that.
I've been a geek since I was 7. So I mean, it's like,
what was your first computer?
An Apple II.
Jesus, bloody hell, you are.
And that was, well, technically that was my dad's that he brought home from work. But that was, so that was about, 40 years ago now. That is scary. And then a couple of years later, I was bought my own computer for Christmas. That was a BBC Model B. Those were the days.
I remember them well.
32 kilobytes of RAM.
Oh, wow. So powerful, weren't they?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. One megahertz CPU. It's like, compared with now, I mean, a washing machine's got more brains than.
So obviously, your dad's computer, your own computer. So what was your inspiration behind emails and?
Well, I guess cause I ended up quitting my job about 10 years ago. My ex-wife moved to the other end of the country with my kids, so that was my big reason for change. And I just needed to be able to see my kids more, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do at that point. I kind of resigned my job, not knowing where I was going, but I discovered the world of marketing. And I discovered that, the people that I was learning from at that point, they were very much into marketing automation. And most of the people in the group that I was in, they were all looking like the old rabbits stuck in the headlamps, saying, oh my God, I've got no idea what to do. And there was Adrian the geek saying, yeah, this sounds pretty cool, I can do that. So people started asking me for help with that. Over the years, that's what I've focused on the most. But I found that there was a consistent theme along the way that some people struggle to avoid the spam folder. Some people, it doesn't matter how many emails they're sending, they get people complaining, saying, hey, your email didn't reach me. All your emails go to spam. They might say you're only getting a 10% open rate or something like that. And I've developed software to help people with that, going back to 2014, 2015, so that's a long time ago now.
Wow.
And then it's probably about this time 2 years ago, just going to Easter in 2019, and Microsoft and Yahoo and Google, bless their little cotton socks, all of them made changes to the way they handled email at that point. So there's this massive explosion, a big storm of people saying, hey, my emails are no longer getting through. And everyone was blaming, whether it was MailChimp or ActiveCampaign or Keep or whatever they were using, everyone was blaming the email platform they were on. But it was very clear that if everyone was seeing this problem everywhere, it wasn't because MailChimp had suddenly started doing something bad. It was because the world had changed out there.
Yeah.
And I suddenly realized that I didn't, the things that I had learned about email deliverability and how to actually get into the inbox, then it made much more sense for me to focus just on that bit, because no one else really does it. There's probably a handful of people in Europe and America. I'm probably one of, I could maybe name 9 other people that do something similar to me in the world.
Wow, so, that's amazing, man.
It's quite a good niche to have, because it means if someone posts on Facebook saying, hey, I've got a problem with emails, then 50% of the time my name will then get mentioned as someone who can help. So
I always see your name mentioned everywhere I go. It's like you're following me around.
The only reason I'm not a huge fan of Facebook anymore, but the only reason I go on there is because I have to go on every day, because someone somewhere will have tagged me, and they'll expect me to respond. So it's
that old chestnut. I remember it well, mate. Hey, they still think that you can control time and make time stand still, so you can get all your own stuff done as well as answer all their questions, mate.
Exactly.
I hear
so I guess this is why I started. I've always been a bit of a geek and software developer, things like that. But what I found was that by having my own software, and one of the things I've created is what I call the email health check. Then the starting point is I can say, right, go away and do this health check. It's free, it doesn't cost you anything. Then come back and I can tell you whether you need any help or not. So it's I've almost replicated myself in a bit of software, so that I don't have to do all the basics all the time, because I can literally press a button and it will do all the how are you managing your emails? How are you doing this? How are you doing that? And the software knows all the answers to that. So when I start talking to someone, then I can say, right, here's what you're doing. Here's how you need to change this. Here's how you need to do that. And it just makes that conversation a lot easier, because it's missing that first little, it's like the old, when you ring up the computer help desk, the first thing they ask you is it plugged in yet? And it's avoiding those kind of questions.
Something, mate, that's phenomenal, and I'm really pleased for you, because I think, having known you as long as I have, I know one of the key things for you was being able to replicate yourself because of the demands that so many people put on you. Like I say, everyone thinks that you're just sat around waiting for calls. I know that you're deep diving into your business, every single day. And if you're not deep diving into your business, you're making sure you're taking that time to recharge. So it's really, really pleasing. And I'm so glad for you. You've been able to do that, because I can see it in your face, man. You look younger. How the hell have you managed it? You actually look 10 years younger than when I last saw you, man.
I'm relaxed. It's like, and it's great you said that. Tomorrow, I've booked the day off tomorrow. I am not doing work tomorrow. Obviously, there's not much you can do on lockdown. I'll probably go for a very long walk or something like that. But
your thing's running, man. I know you like running like 10 miles and stuff.
No, I've done my run today. I did 10k on Saturday, was it? I've lost track of the days.
Tired, man.
Yeah, I think. Well, since the 1st of January, I have run at least 5k every single day, and I'm feeling good on that. It's one of the things that keeps me sane and healthy during lockdown, because at least I can still get out. But yeah, that's like you said, there's always stuff to do in the business. And, I had a bit of a mini meltdown yesterday, because there is always so much to be done. There's always, the thing that gets me is when I know there's lots of people depending on me. If it's just jobs that I've got to do, I won't get them done, because it's like, well, it doesn't matter, I can do it anytime. But as soon as I know that someone is depending on me in some way, even if it's just an email they sent me, I've not answered it, then it it gets you in there.
Absolutely, mate. And I was having a conversation with someone only last week actually about this very thing, is that we've already got enough pressure in our lives about creating pressure for ourselves. And I think, and you've hit the nail on the head there, your own work, yes, it's important, but you can choose whether to do it today, tomorrow, next week, or next month, because nobody knows about that work. No one knows what you're planning or creating. But for other people, because that responsibility of, they're relying on me. Someone's like, I'm Superman, I've got to make sure I save the world. Mate, I completely hear you, but it's good that, like I say, you're taking time off tomorrow, and fair play to you, mate, fair play. So what have been some of the challenges that you've had to overcome regarding, you know, this business, regarding business?
Yeah, I guess the biggest challenge is always that realization that you can't do it all yourself. And you know, I've done a lot over the years, kind of learning how to be a better version of myself. But I don't really like what people call personal development, because that's very kind of, you know, a lot of that is around how to put yourself under pressure. And my thing is a lot more about, well, how can you be kind to yourself? So, have you ever, there's this really cool book, I don't know if you came across it, called The Boy, the Mole, the Fox and the Horse. Have you ever come across that?
No, I'm writing it down now.
So this is like the antithesis of personal development. It's all about how people are kind to themselves. And one of the things in there, it says one of the most difficult words in the world, one of the most difficult questions to ask is help. And people really struggle asking for help. They, you know, and particularly a lot of people, if they're running their own business, remember when I got started, I thought I had to do it all myself. And it's so much easier when you've got a good group of people around you, not necessarily working for you directly. It might be that you've got team members, freelancers, whatever. Yeah. It might just be you've got friends or people that you can turn to. Just making sure you've got that support network, because at the end of the day, I'm a geek. I'm not a natural chief executive of a company. I never will be. So it's about making
What's one of those look like, mate?
Exactly. It's like, you know, look at Richard Branson. He's a clever guy. He knows what he can't do. He gets the right people around him to do the stuff he can't do. And yeah. I'm not quite there with my team yet, but I've got some good people around me now. I've even got my son is now working for me. He's writing software for me.
Oh, that's fantastic, man.
So that's really cool. So it's not just me even doing the software now.
That's
so
brilliant.
It is just about, you know, the toughest thing I've found is getting the right people to do the right things. I certainly haven't got it sussed yet. There's a lot of work to do yet.
Well,
but you know, if I compare where the business is now with even a year ago, then it's massively different.
Much better. And you're so right. I mean, getting that help in, it's a game changer, really. Totally. I think for a lot of business owners, what they're thinking of is they're looking at, oh, how much we're going to pay. They're not thinking about, well, how much can I make from this person being as part of the company? Because you should always look at any kind of assisted outsourcing help as, so how, you know, what's the long-term effect on my business? Yes, there might be some short-term cost, but if I look over long-term in terms of what you cost as a person to go out of your house and speak to somebody, and you factor that in.
Oh, and there's short-term pain as well, because it takes longer. You know, the best example is my son writing the software. It's taken me a week to help him do something that I'd have done in probably about half a day. But here's the thing. You know, I've got him adding a new email platform to the list of platforms that my health check support. So at the moment, we're working with MailChimp, ActiveCampaign, Keep, Constant Contact, Sendinblue, a couple of others that I always forget. So my son Ben is adding support for another platform called Maripost in there. So that is great, because once he's done that, and it's going to take him about a month to do it, I reckon, by the time we start to finish. But then I also want to add in MailerLite. I want to add Aweber. There's all these others. And I say, right, Ben, you did this one in a month. You do the next one in a week. And the more experience he gets, the better he'll get it, and the less of my time it's going to take. So it is a huge investment in my time in the short term, and a lot of pain. And, you know, I mean, Ben's great. He's 19. He's very bright. But I've had to teach him a lot of the basics that, you know, I learned 30 years ago. So it's kind of, you know, when you're helping someone get started with anything from scratch, you get those moments when you want to bang your head against the wall, because, like, do you really not get this? It's so simple.
Well, mate, you're too clever. That's the problem. And I think one of the problems with people like yourself is that, and I've been guilty of it as well, and doing a teaching qualification kind of showed me that, was that we all make assumptions. We make assumptions wrongly that everyone is the same as us in terms of the way they think, the way that, and that they should know these simple things. It's absolutely amazing when you kind of come across people who don't know stuff that you think is completely obvious. But why should they? They haven't lived your life. They haven't lived your dream. They haven't walked in your shoes. But you're absolutely right. The more that he does this, the better he becomes, the faster he becomes. And it's a skill that will never go. It's like, right, boom, give me something else, Dad.
Yeah, and that's where we're getting to. It's like, you know, sometimes I've had some days where literally every 15 minutes I've been answering a question for him. But it's like today, you know, we've got this call now. Said, right, I'm going to be offline for an hour and a half. Here's what you need to do. Go away and do it.
Leave me alone.
And you know, I know
what's he going to do tomorrow when you're off?
Well, there you go. He's going to have a very long list. But I know that when I check back in, then he will have made progress because, you know, I mean, over the last few months, then, you know, obviously I've also paid for online training and stuff. So he's done, you know, Udemy is great for that kind of thing. You can learn anything on there.
Oh my God.
So yeah, he's learned a lot. And the basics that I was having to explain to him 3 months ago, you know, they're all sorted now. Now it's like, now we're going into the nuts and bolts.
Into the meat. So you can actually, you're starting to have more detailed conversations with him in code.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it's reached a point now where, I mean, it's a simple thing. If you're going to do the same thing 3 times, then you can either write it 3 times or you can actually make it repeat itself round 3 times. And the first time he did it, he did the same thing 3 times. They're like, okay, now he's learned how to be a bit more efficient with it and things like that.
Yeah.
It's the same with anything. You know, that's a geeky example, but even if it's just like someone talking to potential clients or stuff like that, they just need to know enough about the business that they can. No one's ever going to be able to talk to a prospect like I can because they don't have the in-depth of knowledge.
Of course.
But as long as I've shared enough that they need to be able to share, it's the 80-20 rule, isn't it? As long as they've got the small bit that most people ask, that's what matters. And it takes a long time, but it's getting there. And the thing is as well, I mean, the 80-20 rule is great because even when I'm working with clients, it's like, okay, here's the basics that you need to do. You don't need my help with this. You get this bit right. Everything else is, you know, you're going to make a massive difference. Then come back to me once you've done the basics and we work out if we need to go into the kind of real geeky, techie bits. Because most of this stuff is really simple. It's just people get scared because they see the whole email deliverability thing as this super complex techie thing, but it doesn't have to be.
They see tech. I think, you know, I literally have had students in the past who literally thought they could break the internet or their laptop by typing in the wrong thing or clicking the wrong box. And it's like, honestly, it's like bless them. But you know something, mate? You know what's really nice to hear? Because obviously I've known you. I think I remember you buying your son a car. I think that's how long ago it was. He's now 19.
Yeah, so that was 2 years ago. Yeah.
So it's so nice that you've managed to absorb him into the company, and the skills that you teach him now. Let's be completely honest; they're going to be pretty much future-proof because coding's not going anywhere, folks.
Not for a while. Not for a while yet.
So, Adrian, tell us. No, it's up to you. I'd like you to tell us one thing about you that not many people know about.
Ooh.
Choose your answers carefully, services online.
I was going to say it's a family show, right? Okay, so this is something that probably a few people know, but this is one of my favourite things to do is actually to go. I'm going back a long time now. It must be more than 5 years. I actually bought a little boat on the canal, little 90s. So not a narrow boat, not one of these big long metal things. It looks a bit like a bathtub. Unfortunately, it's a 19 feet long, 7 foot wide, little cabin cruiser. And that is my place that I retreat to. If I want to slow down, then I will go on the boat. And that's the thing I've missed most during lockdown is I can't even take the boat out, which is a bit of a shame.
I've known you all this time. I never knew you had a boat.
Well, there you go. There you go. There's been the occasional mention of it on Facebook over the years, but not that often.
Do you hire it out on weekends?
I'd probably get into trouble if I did that. I'll tell you what, though. You know, what I love about the canals is the speed limit is 4 miles an hour. Most people poot along about 3 miles an hour. It forces you to slow down.
Yeah,
you cannot be in a hurry on a boat. No. So you know, when my entire my business life is like 90 miles an hour, sometimes I'm doing my best to slow down. But if you stop and go on the boat, everything has to stop, and it's just this tranquility. I'm very lucky. I live in Stoke-on-Trent, which is not exactly, it's not known for its rural beauty.
Well, if you go past Newcastle into Silverdale and places like that,
there's places down there. But what people don't know, a lot of people don't know, is if you just go a little bit to the east of Stoke, there's probably the most beautiful canal in the UK. It's the Caldon Canal. My limited company is called Caldon Consulting Limited. I actually named it after the canal. And when I was about about, actually, it was as I was born, actually. In the 1970s, British Waterways had closed the canal. They wanted to fill it in. My mum and dad moved to a place called Cheddleton, and they got involved in getting it reopened because they came from London. They had a little boat. They wanted to move it up with them. So they were involved in getting the canal reopened 40 years ago. And I'm proud to be able to go on that stretch now. You go up into the Staffordshire moorlands, and it is beautiful. It is the most wonderful scenery you can see, and just going along on the boat 3 miles an hour.
Honestly, I can't wait for this all to be over, because I know all about where you're talking. People don't realise that we've actually got so much beauty on our doorstep.
Yeah,
you haven't got to go drive hundreds of miles. You haven't got to go to Scotland or Wales. I mean, okay, I live in Birmingham, but literally, if I go 5 miles in one direction, I'm in Clent Hills. It's all rural. It's beautiful.
Well, the thing is, and even in Birmingham, some of the canals in Birmingham itself are beautiful. Some of them are a little bit of an eyesore still, but there's certain bits you can go, and it is absolutely lovely.
I think they could do a lot more with the waterway, the canals, in terms of the leisure industry. I just don't think they're being inventive enough. But hey, mate, that's a story for another day. Hopefully, we'll both be contacted by British Waterways and be like, hey, we'd like you gentlemen to come in and give us some ideas. Adrian, so if somebody was crazy enough, no, that's not right, actually. If somebody was brave enough to start a business, or wanted to start a business right now, what 3 tips would you give that person?
Ooh. First tip is be totally clear on what your offer is. And then the biggest mistake I see lots of people is they spend so much time up front on websites and business cards and marketing and stuff like that. If I was starting from scratch right now, the first thing I would do is I would go and talk to people until I had 10 clients. I wouldn't bother with anything apart from that. It's about relationships, networking, find people, find out who you can help and go and sell to them direct. Yeah. Don't bother with anything else outside of that. Yeah. Because it's all about making sales. If you don't make sales quickly, you're out of business. It's that. So, be clear on what you want, go and sell it to people, and only then do you start thinking about growing and scaling and things like that. I mean, okay, if you're going to start some massive conglomerate and you go and get £1 million bank loan, then maybe it's a different story. But I know that most of the people that are going to be watching this are going to be much more like you and me, where it's like, we're starting not necessarily from nothing, but you're starting small. If you're starting small, then you don't need a big army of people around you. You just need to go and find people that want what you've got and how you can help them. Find those people, sell something to them, rinse and repeat, then ask them to recommend other people, and then you can start thinking about marketing after that. I'm the email king, but I wouldn't use email on day one. Certainly not. There's a time and a place for building a big audience of people, and that is absolutely one of the best ways to grow your business. But you've got to have something to grow first, and the way to do that is one-on-one conversations, because a phone call or a face-to-face meeting is the best way to sell anything.
Absolutely. And I remember one of the gurus who I follow saying, sell to one customer at a time. Until, like you say, you get to that stage where, I suppose, there's that critical mass stage where you've got enough customers paying you to then say, right, let me get somebody in to do all that running around. Let me focus on the expansion. But fantastic. Any other tips you want to throw in there? So I know you're a business entrepreneur legend. You've kind of got hundreds of tips. Give me one more. Give the crowd one more.
I think it's as soon as you can, get some help. I think that's the other thing is, don't be an island. No one is an island. As soon as everyone will normally only have one genius zone. And all the time you're not in that genius zone, you're out of flow, and it would make much more sense to get someone else to do it. So but you can't do it too soon. The mistake I made years ago was I started to employ people before I had enough money to pay for them, and it all went probably wrong. So you've got to get the timing right. But this is where things like freelancers and outsourcers are great, because you might just be paying someone 5 hours a week. It might only be like 50 or 100 quid or something like that. But if they can then take something off your hands that you see as a kind of job that gets you out of your zone of genius for a bit, and you can then focus more on what you can do, then that's the best return you will ever ever make on any investment ever.
Fantastic. And you are one of the people who inspired me to seek help in my business, because I saw how you successfully ran a remote team and things were getting done, and it's like, wow, wow. It's so, honestly, from the outside looking in, it's because we all kind of know about it, but there's a little bit of fear of, oh, what about if they run off me login details and my passwords, and oh, they got me Facebook. But you've got this process nailed in terms of, right, we need somebody, boom, bam, boom, they're in, they're onboarded, and they're off and away. Is there anything that the group can help you with right now, Adrian? I mean, you're a man who's got a lot, but is there anything that we can help to support you on your journey?
And the main thing I'm looking for at the moment is to get the message out there. Because the thing is, I've got, I do consulting, we've got the software, we've got training, we've got all this kind of stuff. But the main thing that I'm passionate about is I want to help 1 million small to medium businesses be heard more. And I can't do that without other people sharing that message. Because the thing is, pretty much every business can use email to help them. And like we said at the start, I'm not helping people set everything up anymore. But if someone is already using email in their business, I can pretty much guarantee that unless they have got an open rate of 40%, then I can probably double their open rates, which means that they will just get their message out better. And supposing you're spending money on something like Facebook ads, if you're spending £10 to get a lead, and then only 40% of those are seeing your emails, and I can get that 40% to 80%, then suddenly it means you can get twice as much return on the spend that you do on advertising and things like that. But even if someone doesn't pay me a penny for help ever, I'm totally cool with that, because the thing that matters most is just that there's some very simple principles that I want to share with the whole world that will say, here is how you can be heard even more by your audience. So it just, I've got a really cool email checklist that I give away for free that's got the most important things people need to know. I'm just trying to get that shared, because with that checklist, it doesn't matter what platform people use. It doesn't matter if you're using MailChimp or HubSpot or something that's costing £1 million a year or whatever, then the principles are always the same. So that, just get people to share that checklist as far and wide as possible. You just got to go deliverabilitydashboard.com/checklist. Download it, share it with your friends, whatever. There is some really, really cool stuff in there. That's
I'm hearing you loud and clear. So what I'm going to ask you to do then, Adrian, or you can maybe get one of your outsourced team to do it, is this video. I want one of your team to come back, and I want you to put all of your links in the comments.
We can sort that.
Put a bit of blurb around the email check. Again, the link to it. And just get it in there, and let's get the message out to people that if they do need help to get into more inboxes or to get a better open rate, like I say, I've implemented several of the things that you've mentioned to me, and my open rate is around about 40-ish%.
Oh, he's doing good.
Yeah, which I was really surprised. I was like, oh, bloody hell, that's not too bad. Obviously, when I do my cleanse at the end of next month, that will probably go up a little bit more, because there'll be more people in there engaged, the numbers are lower. But honestly, guys, if email is something that you are doing right now, you're not getting much feedback, or you're not looking at your stats, go and look at your stats. You need to know how effective those emails are that you're sending out. If your open rate is less than 40%, get in touch with Adrian, because he's going to help you increase that. And I'm telling you now, one of the tips can make a massive difference. I'm not even going to reveal what it is, but there is one tip in particular which can make a huge difference to where your email goes when it goes to a Gmail or Hotmail or one of your other accounts. I'm not going to say what it is though, because Adrian will tell you in his email checklist. Right, so that's it. We haven't got any questions, sir. You've either answered all the questions, or people are sitting there going, "What are you talking about?" I doubt they're saying that. But guys, listen, if you're watching this on replay, now I'm going to make a massive promise to you, because I have been saying this for weeks, that I'm going to give a prize to everybody who watches it on replay. Ooh. The prize has been created. In fact, there's several prizes, so you're going to be able to choose what you want. If you've watched this video and you watch it till the end, and I'll be able to check, because it'll come up on as a timestamp, hashtag replay, and I will send you a special prize for watching the video. Adrian, get your team to put all the comments in. Thank you so much for joining me today. Don't go anywhere, because we'll have a quick debrief. People, thank you for watching, and my guest for Thursday, unfortunately, isn't able to make it. So I may do an impromptu live, or I may try and find someone to do an impromptu live with. Probably better to find somebody to do it with. But hey, we'll worry about that on Thursday. Thanks for watching, Adrian. Thanks for joining us today.
Nigel.
And people, we shall catch you on the rebound. Don't forget to watch the video and put hashtag replay.